Morning.
All right, great. All right, and welcome to the April 9th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. We'll start with a roll call vote for attendance, starting with Steve. Steve, aye.
Liz, I.
Bill, aye. Bill, aye.
Marty, aye.
Patrick, aye. Okay, so we're all attended and we'll open the meeting. If we could start with joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll start off with a new public hearing at 40 Grove Street. Patrick, could you read the public hearing at 40 Grove?
Yes, in accordance with the town of Bellingham's zoning bylaws 240-38 backlot division, the planning board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, April 9th, 2026 at 7 p.m. in the Arcan Meeting Room in the Municipal Center, 10 Mechanic Street, Bellingham, Mass. The applicants and owners, John and Robert McCarthy, request a special permit to subdivide a parcel of land, one of which has less than the required frontage on the western side of Grove Street in Bellingham, approximately 10.5 acres of land, shown in the assessor's map 22-1-7, zoned agriculture. The plans were prepared by D&L Design Group, 115 Water Street, Milford, Mass.
Thank you.
The applications and plans may be viewed at the planning and zone office or town clerk's office in the municipal center, 10 Mechanic Street, Bellingham, Mass. during regular center business hours. For questions, please contact the planning department, 508-657-2892.
Thank you, Patrick. Welcome, and if you could introduce yourselves for the record, and then
Yes.
we could
Good
start
evening.
with a presentation. That'd be great.
Good evening, Scott Ambler, an attorney. My office is located in Bellingham, 6 Mendon Street. I'm representing the applicants today, who are present as well in the behind me. I'm also here with the project engineer, who is
Peter Lavoy. I work with D&L Design Group.
Great. So do we have a copy of it we could put up on the screen?
Yeah.
Or would you like to lead us off, Scott?
So you should all have a colored copy of the plan, which we brought tonight to distribute.
Great.
I emailed it to Amy as well, hoping maybe it could be put up on the screen. It's no different from the plans that were previously submitted. It just is focuses on the lot that's the subject of the petition. Just quickly speaking, the owners are Mr. and Mrs. McCarthy, own a 10+ acre piece of property on Grove Street. And what the plan shows is the division of that parcel into 3 lots. Lot 1 and 3 are meet all regulations of the town for a lot in an agricultural zone with regard to frontage and lot area. As you all know, an agricultural lot in Bellingham requires 80,000 square feet. So those are shown as, A&R lots on the plan before you. So the lot that we are here on is lot 2. And we're looking for a back lot permit for lot 2. What we would state for the record is that it meets all of the regulations of section 240-38 for the board to approve a backlot subdivision. It has a minimum at least 50 feet frontage. It contains at least twice the lot area required under the agricultural zone. Without counting the portion that leads up to the lot in question and where the house will be built. If you look at the plan as presented, it's actually easier for me to see on the not colored copy. Sorry about that, but it shows that lot 2, where it spaces out after the entrance area, has 165,362 square feet. And whereas the total area is 174,000 plus. So it meets that requirement of section 240-38. It is capable of containing a square with the sides equal to the normally required frontage. It will meet all setback requirements. The egress does not create any greater hazard owing to any grade or visibility limitations. There are already existing homes along this section of road with the driveways actually accessing Grove Street. It won't reduce, the privacy or damage the natural environment in any sufficient, way that would justify not approving the petition. And the division in this sense doesn't circumvent the intent of the subdivision control law. Actually, it would be the easiest and least embellishing type of division that they could do. They could actually, with the amount of land that they have, they could put in a road and get 3 lots out of this property. And as you can see, other than the existing home lot, all they're going to be doing here is the 2 extra lots. So this impacts, obviously the area the least.
Okay, we have a staff memo, Joe, on this one yet, or is that,
No, the staff meeting that would be reviewing this would be occurring later on in April, so we don't have anything at this time on this application.
okay, then why don't I turn it over to questions from the board? Are there any questions from the board? Bill?
I know you outlined everything, why it should be done. Can you just articulate why you're here tonight? And why it may not qualify?
Why it may not qualify? I don't see any reason why it may not qualify.
Okay.
We're here today because in order to have the plan approved, to have lot 2 approved in its as it's shown on that plan, it has the less frontage than is required.
So, okay, that's,
So it's, just purely because it's a back lot shown.
I just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
Okay. How much less frontage?
150. The typical requirement for an agricultural lot is 200 feet of frontage.
That,
But
you have 150?
no,
We only
we
have
have 50.
Okay.
And that's-
Okay,
And that's what section 240-38 requires, is a minimum of 50.
okay. Just want to clarify.
Anybody else have a question?
Okay.
Okay. So wetlands, seems like there's a lot of wetlands on lot 3. I'm not seeing wetlands on lot 2. Is there any wetlands on lot 2?
There are no wetlands on lot 2.
No.
Okay. There is a lot of them on 3 though.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. How about lot 1?
There are no wetlands on lot 1.
Okay.
I do have one question.
Bill, okay.
You're talking about lot 3 to potentially use for a home. Fair assessment.
Say that again?
Lot 3, you'll put a home there? so-
Yes, we
Yeah.
already have soil testing that was witnessed by the Board of Health.
Okay. Where's the spur or the driveway gonna be for
It'll
that
be,
house?
it'll be adjacent to the driveway for lot 2.
Okay,
We would try to stay out of, we would try to meet the requirements through the Wetland Protection Act
Yep.
and the town's conservation bylaw.
okay. That seems reasonable. Okay.
Okay, couple of questions, so how close are we to Depot Street on the back side of that? There's no intent to go back out
On the backside, you're not
Great.
close to Depot Street. You're close to the Hopedale Town line, if any.
Hopedale Town line, okay. I noticed there's a couple easements when I look at GIS on that, so it looks like there's a rail easement and
Gas.
power, gas easement.
Yep.
Are there any other easements that are involved in any of these lots?
No, nothing goes through the lot. It's adjacent to the back property line.
Um. Okay, so from a process point of view, I imagine we'll be sending that further to the town review next meeting, but one of the things I would like to talk about during that is the lot area. The bylaw has a lot area where if there's what I'm concerned about is as you come down lot 2 on Grove Street, I was hearing 50, you got a 50-foot wide driveway, but then there's a 4674 length there. And the way that I believe that the lot area you play would be that if it's less than 50 feet, then it's a straight, you gotta use a straight line for that, and then it would become less than 50 feet if the lot area. But I'd like to have the town staff review that. It's under the lot area review, the lot area definition as such, so we certainly want to hear a weigh in on that. And then I think we're normally would see it, the size of the lot, and the question about twice the normal frontage, and I don't see a square on this that would normally weigh in on that.
Yeah, we didn't show the 200 by 200.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but it falls, it's definitely,
would be twice that, right? So 400
Yeah.
by 400?
no, no, it would be the required frontage equal.
The entire lot area has to be twice, which it does.
Right.
That's, yeah, so inside.
But not the
Not the
box.
front.
Not the
No, the
square.
box is the square that was that's supposed to be put in the area where the house is going would be 200 by 200 would be the required frontage in the agricultural zone. But that definitely fits because you have roughly like 300 feet where the house is. That's how wide that is roughly. So that box is well inside of that rectangle where the house is.
Yeah, subsection 3 of the section that obviously we're going under, it says the lot having the reduced frontage must be capable of containing a square with sides equal to the normally required lot frontage. So the normally required lot frontage is 200 feet. And if you even just look at the back lot line for the lot 1, that's over 200 right there, and it doesn't go all the way across. So, you know, a square would obviously easily fit into that back area.
Are there any other questions? So lot 1 is there's an existing house there. Lot 2 would be to put a house there. Lot 3 is.
An A&R lot for a house.
Just an A&R for a house later with sufficient frontage on the front.
Correct.
Correct. It shows, lot 3 has, 211 feet of frontage. And lot 1 has 268 feet of frontage. And then lot 3 has 4.57 acres in size. And then, lot 1 has 2 acres, which is the required area. So the lot 3 is probably the largest lot because we took that into account because of the wetlands. To give it more upland.
Okay. Is there any other questions from the board?
No,
Okay. Joe, from a process point of view, we'd send this off to professional staff review.
I can check, I think, on something that is typically like a large lot, division of land. You know, one of the things, especially when you have that narrowing, from frontage, want to make sure that we can, scale off the widths and that we're not creating an issue with fire department getting access, especially because that's such a long driveway. The second, even though, you know, we can scale it out and looking that one side adjacent to lot 1, looks like it has a length of 261 because it's at an angle. We want to just scale it out to make sure that the 200 by 200 fits. Only because, that's at an angle, then the lot's coming in. I don't think it's a problem, but it's always good to make a definitive finding of that. And then, the other thing is, with, regards to, special permit, for this, approval. We would want to make sure that, we are, wait. Sorry, just reviewing this. When I said special permit, I was immediately thinking of a different town that I was in, that it was back lots were by way of the special permit. So yes, it is. Okay, good. If there are any public comment that we take, we'd want to make sure that, we can have staff, review any public comment should the board, want, to get additional information, to support drafting of a decision for, the board to consider.
Bill? Joe, when you talk to the chief, keep in mind where the closest fire hydrant is. And also, if he needs a template for a turnaround, because that's a long stretch of road. I don't want to put obstacles in front of the applicant. But I think we want input from the fire department before we go much further.
Looks like there's sufficient elevations on this for grading. No, looks like, is there any other information we would need?
I mean, that would be the only other thing I'd have to look at, standards to see if, from Grove Street, whether or not we have any, other, say, grades where driveways meeting the roadway, but that's where reviewing it with, our public safety and DPW, they'd be familiar with that.
Okay, what type of time frame do you think we need to come back and give the applicant a chance to respond if we needed? Looks like there's a, this, May 14th,
That's what Amy has on her continuation sheet, and, that doesn't mean that, after, tonight, anticipating continuing the hearing, doesn't mean that there isn't work on any sort of, draft document for the board to review in advance for that, May 14th meeting. But we may want to, sort of take action on that after we get the public comment.
okay. All right. Does the, do you guys have anything else you'd like to offer tonight?
No, just I guess to address a couple of the questions raised by the board and the discussions we're having is obviously just pointing out that, from looking at the plans myself, I wouldn't expect any, the grade to be an issue. You have a grade of 278 near Grove Street, and then where the proposed house location is, the grade is 280. So it's a very flat, area, so that should not really pose any kind of a problem in that sense, from the board's perspective, I would imagine. And then again, with regard to, fire apparatus, there's obviously plenty of room in there for accommodations to be made, to accommodate any, ambulance or fire truck if it should have to go down that way. The lot is quite large. So, and not having any wetlands, doing something along that nature, won't be a problem. I believe that we can obviously, redo the plan to, put in the 200 by 200 box on the lot to show that it complies with that section, so that there's no question. I mean, rather than just relying upon the visual, distances already shown, if that would appease the board.
Let me ask Joe. Joe, is there sufficient information here on GIS? Or would you like them to resubmit?
I mean, I think
Supplemented.
based off this, especially because we have, the full set of plans, it is possible to, scale it off. But it's always, nice to be able to reference a compliant, dimensional plan as part of, say, a decision. So if, the applicant's, attorney is offering that, I think would be nice to be able to have that.
That's not a problem.
Okay, then if the board is okay, we'll just say send it directly and it'll be part of the material that is used to evaluate, and then we'll get a copy of the next time around. Unless the board has another opinion on that? Okay. Fine with that. All right, so I guess we would ask for continuance to May 14th with the idea that if you're providing that information, we'll have town evaluate it and get information back to you as soon as possible. Prior to that, you can go from there. Does that sound that 14th work?
Fine. That's
Can I
fine.
ask one question?
Sure.
Like the truck turning simulation, do you want us just to do that? So we can submit that plan with the new plan, so the fire chief has something to look at, we could do that. too.
That's fine. I mean, I was gonna
I'd
send
rather
him
have-
this
I'd rather
and
not wait
inquire.
and then have to do it again, you know, for the next meeting, so I'll
Yeah.
I'll just do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Great. Okay, do we need that? And do you have a? form
I
that
have
we can-
a form.
Okay, you guys are willing to sign the form?
Yes, absolutely.
I'd entertain a motion to continue to, and do we have a decision deadline on this? It's a special permit, so we probably don't need one.
No, but I mean,
Okay.
just for the record, in case there was anyone here in attendance for this, I don't know if anyone
That's a good question.
was.
Does, good, is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment on this? Stand up, introduce yourself and pose your question through the board.
So we've prepared a full statement. So, okay, so we live at 44 Grove Street. We're direct abutters to 40 Grove Street currently, and then the proposed back lot. So my name's Brad Spencer, this is my wife, Masha Spencer.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. So she's gonna reiterate her statement, but basically, we're here to oppose the special permit for lot 2 and for the following reasons.
While the bylaw allows for limited exceptions, it clearly requires that such proposals meet strict criteria and importantly, that they do not negatively impact the surrounding neighborhood. Based on the information available, I believe this application fails to both meet the spirit and intent of these requirements. First, the proposed division raises serious questions regarding neighborhood character and property values. Including a reduced frontage backlot in an established area can set a precedence for increased density that is inconsistent with the existing streetscape. This type of development often leads to diminished property values for budding homeowners who purchase their homes with the expectation of a certain level of spacing, privacy, and neighborhood consistency. Second, 240-38 explicitly requires any reduction in privacy or impact on the natural environment be no greater than would be expected under standard land division. In this case, placing a dwelling on a reduced frontage lot behind existing homes inherently compromises the privacy of surrounding properties. Increased noise, lighting, and activity in what is currently a wooded buffered area would materially reduce the quality of life for current residents. Third, concerns about the access and safety under 240-38 should not be overlooked. Backlot development often introduces long driveways with limited visibility and increased traffic conflicts, particularly in neighborhoods not designed for such configurations with narrow streets. Even if technically compliant, these designs can still pose greater real-world hazards than standard frontage lots. Additionally, the bylaw requires that such proposals not circumvent the intent of the subdivision control law. This application appears to prioritize maximizing development potential over thoughtful community-centered planning. Allowing this type of exception risks opening the door to incremental overdevelopment that undermines the protections these regulations are intended to provide. Finally, I urge the board to consider the broader responsibility it holds to the residents of Bellingham. Decisions like this should prioritize the long-term well-being of the community rather than the short-term interests of individual developers. Existing residents contribute to the character, stability, and tax base of the town, and their quality of life should not be compromised by proposals that introduce affordable negative impacts. For these reasons, I respectfully request the planning board deny this special permit application. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your input.
Although I have copies if it would be helpful.
You want to provide that to Joe? Let me put that on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience, sir?
Hi, my name's Doug Walton, 36 Grove Street. I'm here with my wife Suzanne today. That was very well done, I gotta say. I have some other concerns with the proposal. The driveway. Its location will serve two homes and it's currently an existing driveway, is that correct? I believe it's a gravel driveway, it's just a poor location. From what I gathered on the plan, it does have slight visibility issues for that driveway. It currently serves a barn on the property. It was permitted as a 12-foot driveway. It is a 50-car gravel parking lot that I believe I read they would like to keep as the gravel parking lot and put a driveway going through it also. And it's just not on a flat straight road. It's a terrible spot for a driveway, let alone a multi-home driveway, which is what I got out of the plan that I looked at.
Thank you. Just to clarify, the second house, is that going to be for a single family home?
It is,
Yes,
but this driveway is only gonna service one house.
Okay,
Not two.
so lot one has a
Has
separate driveway to
separate
that,
driveway.
and there'll be a separate driveway to lot two. Lot three is not defined at this point.
No.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
The other concern is it's not a flat area where this lot's proposed. It slopes to my land. I have a 5-acre lot directly abutting. I'm very concerned how it would affect the runoff to the area.
Are you adjacent to 3 or 1?
I'm 36.
So we'll be to the left of the.
Three.
we have
To the left of
Adjacent to
three.
the,
To the left.
lot 3.
Yeah, we have a wet
Okay.
common,
There's a lot of wetlands in there,
a delicate wetland that
delicate
should be,
wetland,
deserves extra review for certain.
for sure.
well, that would,
Does the driveway,
that would come up.
does the driveway on lot two cross the wetlands?
Lot 2? No.
No,
Lot 3 will not cross the wetlands either.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
I think that really, we need to really carefully review how this is planned out by the town of Bellingham. To put it mildly, I think a lot of activity on that property has already negatively impacted the well-being of the community that lives on that land. There was an illegal gun range there that should be looked at
On the
for-
parcel.
on parcel, I think lot 3 that they're suggesting. That probably has a lot of lead that needs to be cleaned up. There is all of the wetlands that we're concerned about for our property, how will,
Say one thing,
yep,
the existing, still in place, illegal gun range appears to be in the wetland buffer zone.
it is.
That's been presented. It's very concerning. It's a clear, de-stumped area. And that should be considered
Mhm.
with the proposal.
Mhm. And I would really like this to be taken seriously by the town of Bellingham. I think our family directly has been negatively impacted by a lot of activity on that property. And to have 2 more houses there, we moved there for a very rural experience in the town of Bellingham. We did not move there to have several neighbors next door. I know it really doesn't come down to, what we want or what we care to have. And I know the rules and regulations probably do comply with this, but I think a lot needs to be considered about the activity that was previously on this property and how it has already for over 6 years negatively impacted our community.
I have another comment.
First, this proposal doesn't have anything to do with any prior activities. As far as an illegal gun range, from my understanding, that's, a misstatement. As far as I was made aware, the police department had viewed this gun range and stated that it was legal. But again, I guess one of the things to understand is if this is approved, well, there is no gun range. You can't have a gun range. A gun range has to be, you can't fire a gun within 500 feet of a dwelling. So if this is approved, there's no potential for an existing gun, if there is a gun range, it's gone. So,
So you'd be consistent with the usage allowed on agricultural single family home on these lots?
yeah, these are residential lots, so that's all that, you know,
That's what you're asking for today.
exactly.
And you
So,
wouldn't mind being that conditioned in the,
well, I think by law, there's no way of of allowing it. So, you know,
that's.
if there is a gun range there, illegal or legal, we're stating it is legal. But if this is approved and it goes forward, there is no gun range. You can't have one.
I think you need to look back to October 5th of 2023, when a man was shot there and it was proven, well, it's going to a court of law that there was an illegal gun range,
It's a
being
criminal
military
case.
style gun range there.
So I guess what he's, what.
I
what was just-
understand that.
What was just said was that
Yeah.
they're looking to, the change they're making would change what they're looking to do on this law.
Right.
Is what I'm hearing from what they just stated.
We like the neighborhood as it is, as the first close
Yeah.
space as it is, houses not behind houses.
I
I
think,
think it's worthy of bringing up in this situation because it does draw attention to how the residents of this property, the owner of this property goes against the grain and will circumvent things to make things happen. So I don't trust the fact that all of this is going to happen in the manner that it's going to happen. Because there was also an illegal barn there too, that they were holding events and things and such like that. When that was found out, they were shut down. So they are legally doing things, but then they will do something illegal to circumvent the town and lie to the town. It's just common knowledge and it's fact. And I'm not sure that what they say they're going to do is actually what is going to happen, even though they have it and are presenting it to the town.
So let me ask you, so the gun range that you're referring to now, are you saying that if this is approved, that gun range will no longer exist? Is that?
You know, if this is approved and you have two houses built on these lots, it can't. It can't exist. You can't use it.
So then would you,
You're gonna clean up the lead too?
It's a concern.
can I just-
Those are allegations, I mean,
yeah. So what I'm hearing is your concern. They're coming back and saying that by doing this, that concern that you brought up, right or wrong, you need face value,
Sure.
they're saying goes away. Because as the attorney just said, you can't do that. You can't have a home next to a gun range.
We have
Well,
layered
500.
concerns with the.
500 feet, so if they're
Right, that's fair.
501.
yes, you cannot fire
Yes.
weapons within
Right.
500 feet of a dwelling.
That's,
And
Mr. Chair, and I don't want to go down this road hypothetically. If this was approved, we could have conditions.
I think that's what, I think there's probably gonna be some.
I would say that there's
conditions.
no need for it.
But-
But again, you know. Sure.
Maybe we look. Maybe we look
Because my
into some
concern is
conditions.
They start
Clarify
building,
this.
I'm sorry. My concern is they start building, all that landscape there gets moved. The water drains down, gets into the lead, comes into my
it needs to
property.
be dealt with now and here. Maybe the gun range could be put on the wetland map to clarify what, or a site visit
Because that was right.
for the whole lay of the land, which is not a flat area, which has poor driveway access for multiple homes.
I think there's
is
definitely,
a
there was a
concern.
big concern for when the barn was run as a facility.
With-
That people leaving, coming down that slope of hill, people driving out. And also the concern, right, when that was a separate concern, we would have people coming into our driveway all the time.
There's a 50-car gravel parking lot present.
It's not
Yeah.
12 foot. So I feel like there's an inch given and then the miles taken. So I would have a lot of concerns on the clarification, everything that would go on in that property and how it is done to the letter of the law. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else in the audience?
Brian Sutherland, 57 on Road. With regard to their concerns, is it possible for the wetland agent, conservation agent to be able to walk the property, look for evidence to support, or just see what the existing conditions are, whether there is evidence, and if there's something that has to be addressed conservation wise? And that would take care of the people's concern and also get it on the record whether there is or there isn't evidence of that material. And if there's evidence and has to be mitigated, it gets mitigated. Something as simple as that. Just a thought.
Joe, I think that could be addressed in meetings within the town, correct?
So it's my understanding that Hannah Chase, the conservation agent, is already aware of the issue and is communicating with DEP as far as the right steps to take procedurally, as far as should there be any lead within the wetlands or wetland resource areas. So that is something that is being looked at.
So the town's on top of it. So sir, I think that addresses your question.
Sure.
Thank you. I apologize.
No, please do. Any other concerns from the audience?
Just quickly say one more thing, just with our statement, I think I want to highlight our biggest concern is the privacy. So being direct abutters to 40 Grove Street and the back lot, right, lot 2. Where the plan proposes a house being built is like basically a diagonal from the back of our house, so we're very concerned about our backyard, the privacy that we have currently, impeded heavily by a house being built there. All the windows of the back of our house, being able to just be a house right there. That's among our concerns, that's definitely our biggest one.
Do you know how many feet, if this house was built, how?
I don't, so I know it said in the statement that you have to come down here to view the plans. It would have been nice to get the plan in the mail with the certified letter. But no, I don't know the exact, but how many is.
If I may, I would, to that point, if you look at the plan, the proposed house is 154 feet off of the back lot line of lot 1. And then I've gone down Grove Street enough times to know that most of the new houses, of which I think the gentleman is speaking, he owns one, lot 40 is one of them as well, are all built around the same distance off the road. Then you look, and the existing house on lot 40 Grove Street, my client's house, if you look at that, that's 185 feet off the back lot line. So I'd have to say that the gentleman's home is at a minimum probably 400 plus feet away from where the proposed house is. And there isn't going to be clear cutting of the entire lot, obviously. It's just going to be, cutting enough area to build the home. I believe that there's going to be more than enough privacy. And just to, again, I made the statement, but, approving this isn't setting a precedent. This is a provision in the bylaws. We've met and it meets all of the requirements. So, I'm stating that, there should not be any reason for a denial. And quite frankly, as stated, my clients have done additional plans, alternative plans, in which they build a short cul-de-sac road on their lot, which would allow for 4 lots to be built, including the existing home, but the existing home and 3 lots. So this is actually less of an impact than what is the alternative. Unless, the alternative, I think in everyone else's mind is that if this is denied, it just stays as is. That's not necessarily going to be the case. And they can come in and they have all the engineering work to show a regulation road and 3 other lots. They don't want to do that. They want to have as minimal impact as possible on their existing home lot as well. So it doesn't set a precedent, for anyone else to do back lots on Grove Street. They'd have to have, significantly large lots, as these people do, my clients having the 10 acres, in order to do it, because you'd have to have the back area be twice the required size. So you need, in every single instance, you need a lot that's, 2 to 4 plus acres. And so it really isn't setting a precedent. I don't know of very many other parcels down there that have that kind of size from my review of the map of Grove Street. And again, I don't think the length of a driveway impacts the visibility of traffic coming out. It's whether there's visibility where the driveway meets the road. Doesn't matter that the driveway is 100 feet long. They're not, the visibility up near the house is obviously, there isn't gonna be any. It's all about whether you have the visibility where the driveway meets the road. And all of these houses, there's many of them. There's the gentleman who lives at 36 Grove Street has a driveway that comes onto the road without any issues. My clients have a driveway coming on the road. The gentleman has a driveway coming onto the road. There's several other houses that were recently built up there, driveways coming onto the road. So again, this is the most minimal impact plan, and it meets all of the 240 section 38 requirements.
One question I have, my last one for tonight, but you've got right on this, the plans I'm holding, the proposed house box. It's shown. Is subject to change once the final design of the lot is completed. So how far would that change be? I mean, are we talking, are you looking to turn it or change it, or what are the possibilities there? If it was, if that was the firm, I'd feel more comfortable if that was the firm asking town staff to say, for our decision, let me know how many feet it is from the other house, that type of thing. But where that's a possibility of change.
Well, I mean, obviously, the first thing I point out is the proposed house box is quite large. I mean, that's a very large house, it's 90 by 45. So I think what the idea is it may not be that large, and I don't think that my clients that, with their home being in front of it, would want it to be coming much closer to them. And for purposes of a builder or them building a house out there, the farther you go back just makes it more expensive because you're talking more gravel, more everything else to push it further back.
I'd be comfortable. So
It's in the general vicinity.
it's a general vicinity. How do we clarify general facility? Maybe we could have town staff, general facility, a little bit of change here and there would be reasonable.
What kind
In
of
my
like a
opinion,
deviation
But
of?
if you're changing, if you're changing half an acre this way or half an acre that makes a difference.
I guess we could talk in terms of a deviation of a certain number of feet in any direction.
That sounds like something we could work with.
We'll explore that.
So the
Okay.
intent of the box, we put a big box on there.
Yeah.
And most of the times what happens is, the proposed house would stay within that box location.
And plus a little wiggle room on both sides,
Right, because we have soil testing, so
Yeah.
it can't be that far away from the soil testing. So
Yeah.
That's how the house
So it
is
sounds like,
located in what.
sounds like there should be some. wiggle
That
room
would,
on
that would be a 4,000 plus or minus square foot house. That's a big house.
Almost 9,000 because at 2 stories.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an overly large.
Overly large.
Overly large
footprint.
house,
Yeah.
footprint is, but it's, if
It stays.
if you didn't
within
have
the
that
box.
extra stuff there that. Yeah, maybe we could work something out language wise. Is there any other, I think we've heard your concern.
Yeah, I'd like to respond to what the gentleman said. So I have a couple of disagreements here. So I'm here to talk about the proposed plan proposed tonight, not any future plans. I have no idea what any future plans would be. So I'm talking about this one. In this one, I completely disagree that there is no set minimum or maximum number of trees to be cut down, that they could do whatever they want with that lot. Like all the trees could be cut down. There's zero. I mean, could easily all be cut down. Yeah, my concern with our property, so we have our house, like a gentleman was saying, kind of guessing the distance, lengthwise, I would say, from the back of our house to where this new house would be. There's also our backyard, and then it's an agricultural property. We use the horses, the property for horses as well. So we have our backyard. And we have even farther back a horse pasture with a building for them as well. So it's just guessing the distance between the back of my house is also, it's a concern, but also the backyard and the horse pasture, how close it is to the back of this house. So the length distance, but also I would say the distance, if you think of a triangle, I don't have a map or anything, so I'm doing my best here. But if our house is here and this one's here, I'd be concerned what this distance is as well from the proposed house, because that's more of the proximity. Well, it's all a concern, but if it was farther out, right, and you had a guarantee of trees, that's something different, but it's the way it's proposed tonight. That's why I have a great concern of privacy to our property.
So I know you said you didn't have a copy of the plans, but they can be available at Town Hall downstairs. So I'll take a look at that. And Joe, when the town staff looks at that, if we could take a look at just be able to tell the board how far it is from the existing buildings next.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly just check, because I thought, even though they don't have access to our Dropbox, I thought there is a link on the town's website under planning board proposed project, and then you can get the plan by clicking the link for 40 Grove Street. So it's available online, or if you do want to contact the planning department office, they can provide you with the hard copy.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I didn't say that in the letter.
I just had a quick question. What is the process? We go to the next meeting, and how does the process work?
So right now, what we're gonna do is send this to town staff to evaluate exactly, make sure it fits with everything else, come back here. There's gonna be some information provided to town staff, to Joe for that evaluation. At that point, we'll come back here and review that. And then from there, we'll take a look at where we go from there, once we get that information
So on
back.
May 14th is when we went
Yeah.
after you guys review it.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that'll be the next time.
thank you.
Any other clarification?
I just have one thing to say regarding all the driveways on Grove Street that have good view each way.
Okay.
The existing barn driveway does not have a good view each way. It just doesn't compared to the other driveways in the neighborhood. It's a change we don't agree with, Brian, but
I mean, every driveway, I think in the United States of America, has a driveway that goes to the street. I understand his point in saying that, but that driveway is
the one proposed,
not safe for,
it can
the
be
neighborhood
viewed
is-
driving by. If it could be considered.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, your address is 36?
yes,
Yeah.
And yours is 40?
so on both sides. Yeah, of this property.
I want to have a comment.
Any
So-
last comment?
So I would like to add two of his houses to the plan, so the board can see that, and then we'll be able to see the distances as well as what has already been disturbed. I can add that.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll add that to the plan.
Okay, if you can get that in, if you, when would you be able to get that back in to us? What's reasonable for you to get? that to
When
us?
when does the board meet?
We'd like to have that for the evaluation though.
So when does it go to the town departments? What's the date?
A week before the meeting. So I think the 7th or 8th.
We'll be nailing that down because the new town planner will start on the 27th.
Okay.
And so I'd expect that we'd be having this scheduled that week to go over projects and bring her up to speed. So that we'd essentially be 2 weeks before the next
Yeah, so
planning board meeting in May.
reasonable.
So the
By
beginning of May?
The 22nd.
Okay, 22nd of April?
No, yeah.
I'd ask if you could get it prior to April 27th. And for me, so that we can sort of schedule a planning, development project review staff meeting to go over some of these and to that would give us good timing to have any input on some of these before the May 14th planning board meeting.
Okay. One last question, Bill.
Could you show what you would anticipate to be a buffer zone?
Can I show?
Yes.
I could show, so I'd have to talk to my client, but I could show. I could grade out the lot because I have soil testing, so I would know what the limits of disturbance would be.
And the limits of cutting down trees?
That could, yeah, that all depends on who purchases the lot, that's the
Okay.
thing, but I could come up with a little, a disturbance limit.
I think that would at least make me more comfortable with more information.
And for the board, but then also for the applicant, just a reminder under section 240-38, the board does need to make a finding that reduction of privacy, damage to the natural environment, and difficulties to utility provision must be no greater than would be expected for standard development, standard land division at that location. So looking at those things and looking at buffers and looking to see what can be retained would, I think, help the board in evaluating the project.
And if the applicant made some proposals on that, I would go towards it. All right, do we have the signed paperwork for
Yes,
the
we do.
continuance?
Yep.
All right, and rescission deadlines, this basically same thing,
And
same time frame.
it's signed for continuing the hearing date to May 14th.
Okay, I entertain a motion to continue the meeting to May 14th.
So moved.
Made by Bill, seconded by
Second.
Liz. And we'll start the vote with Steve.
Steve on.
Inside.
Bill, on.
Bill, aye?
Marty, aye.
Okay, so that was approved 5-0, and we'll see you on the 14th. Please provide the data and we'll go through it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so moving on to our second hearing here. We're moving on to 316 Hartford Avenue. And if we could have, Marty, if you could read the public notice, please.
Public hearing notice dated April 9th, 2006. In accordance with the town of Bellingham zoning bylaws, 240-16 development plan approval, 240-54 stormwater management permit. The planning board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, April 9th, 2006 at 7 p.m. in the Arcan Meeting Room in the Municipal Center located at 10 Mechanic Street, Bellingham, Mass. 02019. The applicant, H&B Realty Management LLC, provided a plan set entitled 316 Hartford Ave Site Plan dated January 5th, 2026, prepared by D&L Design Group Incorporated. The application proposes to construct an additional 21,450 square foot, one-story industrial flex use building consisting of 13 units. The proposed development will provide for 72 parking spaces, including 4 handicap spaces at 316 Hartford Ave, listed on the assessor's map as map 13, parcel 3. The property is approximately 11.01 acres and is located within the industrial zone. The plans were prepared by D&L Design Group, Inc., 115 Water Street, Suite 2C, Milford, Mass. 1757. The application and plans may be viewed at the planning and zoning office or town clerk's office in the municipal center, 10 Mechanic Street in Bellingham, Mass. During regular municipal center business hours. For questions, please contact the town planner at 508-657-2892.
Thank you, Marty. Take a motion to open the public hearing for 316 Hartford Avenue.
So
Made by Bill, seconded by Second by Steve. And we'll start the vote with Steve.
Yvonne.
Liz, I.
Bill, I.
Marty, I.
Okay, so that opens the public meeting, to zip. And if you could reintroduce yourself for the record, sirs.
Good evening, and again, Scott Ambler, representing the applicant, lawyer in Bellingham, 6 Mendon Street, Bellingham, Mass. 02019, along with Peter from DNL Design, the project engineer.
Good. We could go over what you're trying to propose today, the introduction.
So, as stated, on the application, my client owns 316 Hartford Avenue in Bellingham. It's an industrially zoned lot. Approximately 11 acres. You can see from the plan at the, different shaped lot. Most of the activity, the current activity, that exists there and where the proposed activity is obviously, on the portion of the lot that's the closest to Hartford Avenue. The very back of the lot has, a solar field and various power easements and gas easements that go through it and won't have any kind of disturbance whatsoever occurring, on any. So we provided tonight some, colored maps that, will show it a little bit more clearly, potentially for you to reference as well. So what exists right now on the property is an office and retail space, an apartment, and then a gym. And that's noted on the plans. And it's a pre-existing, non-conforming parcel and project. And there's the parking that exists, but what's being proposed is a one-story industrial flex use building of 21,450 square feet. To the further rear of the property from Hartford Avenue. It's the current buildings are have a 1,751 square foot office retail residential building and a 4,961 square foot gym and fitness facility. And there's existing 12 parking spaces. The area where the new activity will occur has already been disturbed previously. It had been previously used for the storage of containers and other activities. And as stated, the very back rear portion of the property has a solar field, power easement, gas line, and nothing's being proposed back there. What would be occurring is with this increased or new building, there will be 72 parking spaces on the property, including 4 handicap spaces. And that exceeds the amount of parking required by the town bylaws. So we've met that condition in terms of the parking requirements. Excluding the building roof, the impervious area would amount to 76,947 square feet approximately. And the land disturbance area would be 2.39 acres, but as we stated previously, that's already previously been disturbed. So it wouldn't be brand new, any tree cutting or anything of that nature. The plan as prepared and shown would be serviced by municipal water and sewer. It would have an estimated daily flow of 1,073 gallons per day. And what was submitted with the application as well was the stormwater management study conducted by DNL Design. And, I guess what is ultimately the most important aspect of it all is it was done in accordance with the Mass DEP stormwater practices. And as you can see from the information, after taking into account the soil conditions and the data, the proposed or the pre-existing runoff rates And the post-development runoff rates would show that there is no increase in actuality. The post-development runoff would be eliminated. So everything, any runoff would be contained on site as a result of this new development. So whatever, there was a very minimal amount of runoff from the existing data. And with this new development and the stormwater ponds and recharge areas, that would be eliminated completely. And there would be no runoff whatsoever going onto any abutting properties. As you can see, there's various diagrams you can see. So this will be approximately 13 contractor bays that would be constructed. It's up on the screen now, all in one story. So it's not going to be any kind of height restriction or anything that would violate any kind of standard there. And as stated, it meets all the other requirements that we have already stated. Parking is in excess of what the town bylaws require. Stormwater is taken care of. It should be noted that back in 2008, there had been previous plans for this property, very similar in nature. Actually, they were probably a more intensive use. It was going to be a 22 plus or minus 1,000 square foot building built in the approximate location. It was going to be it went before the zoning board and had approvals. It was to be let me get the exact, a hockey training facility, a sprinkler contractor, and 4 rental bays with an office area of 600 square feet. So, that would have involved quite a bit more, I would say traffic out in and out of the property than the contractor charge. I mean, obviously there will be more traffic than exists right now. However, it is substantially less than what had previously been proposed and approved. So, generally speaking, I guess that's the summation of what the proposal is. And if the board has any questions, and we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Turn it over to the board. Any questions from the board? So proposed use will be for contractors?
Yes, basically, and as you can see, or what was up there, there will be basically garage door style, units for contractors to use. Parking and storage inside, for their businesses.
So there's no plans to have customers in and out. It's just contractors that are leaving to do what they need to do offsite?
Yes.
The only thing that concerns me, and it's not that it can't be addressed, but whenever we talk about new development on Hartford Ave, I cringe. But it doesn't mean it can't be. So ideally, something that doesn't produce a lot of traffic is not a bad thing.
Yeah, this is probably the least impactful use of what could go there. I mean, obviously, if it had been a hockey rink,
right,
it would have been substantially higher. Granted, that proposal was back in, I believe, 2008.
Yeah. No,
times, different.
I hear you.
Traffic volumes, but
when you have again, I'm just speaking out loud. When you have a street that's already overloaded, even, any little more that you add only makes it that much worse.
Understood.
But I hear you. That's all I have.
In the back, I'm not seeing in the maps. How close are you to, like the next abutter kind of in the, like, at the very edge back here? Like,
so the abutter back there, I believe, as you know, that's the town of Bellingham, so that's Stallbrook School. I don't believe the school area goes back that far. It might. I couldn't answer that based on what I have in terms of plans in front of me.
If you look at, that's the school right there on that plan.
All right, yes,
See
so
the school back there? That's where the school is.
Upper right?
Upper right, correct. That's the building.
In the back of the property, that's where we have, some of our, water department wells. You can see, some of the structures out and back, but they're pretty far away from where the proposed building is. Closer
Yes,
to
that the
Sullivan
back,
Fields.
that back area of our lot is, you know, it amounts to quite a bit of land, but it's more or less useless because of the easements and then the solar facility. And then, as stated, the town has a well back there, so you have a 400-foot circumference around your well that you can't build around either, so.
The baseball field there too? Is
Yeah.
that still in existence? There used to be a baseball field up there.
I know I played there a long time ago. I don't know if it's still there.
It's the
It
gravel
was
lot.
20 years ago, 15 years ago it was? I don't know if it's still there.
It is still there, but it's.
It's far enough off.
I mean, I saw it in the fall and it looked like it really wasn't, maintained.
I don't think it's
that
in
currently.
And there's no residential component, like no one's living there
No.
today, right? Okay.
As I said, that area has been, right now is being used for the storage of containers, empty containers, and obviously that use.
Oh, I meant in the existing property. No one's living in the retail office portion.
No, there is an apartment. There is the very front building, these 1,751 square foot office, retail and residential building. There is,
Okay.
that does have an apartment, yes.
I mean, those are my questions for now. I guess I would just reiterate what Steve said. This is a highly contentious area for traffic. We hear a lot of complaints about the traffic for Stallbrook and kids walking to school and all of that stuff. So I would just kind of put an exclamation point on that concern. Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, I just want to remind the applicant and the audience. I know it's come up a couple times tonight. We're looking at what's presented to us. We're not looking at things that can be presented in the future or presented in the past. So our job is to look at what is here to see. Not what could have been done in 2008, could be done in 2030. Our job is to look at what's here. Summer will ask you the question. There is no perceived warehousing in any of these buildings.
No,
I just want to clarify that. Okay. Thank you.
Marty? The truck simulation plan, C 10.0. is that the fire truck? Yes. For the town of Bellingham? Okay, it's.
Yeah, I showed it in 2 locations too.
Right, I just wanted to make sure when it didn't say fire truck, it said truck, so I didn't know if you were looking at
Right, yeah.
18-wheeler going up there, that turns a lot different than.
No,
the fire
it
truck.
was
So it is. the
just to show access to the fire chief that we had in, right behind the existing building, and then that's the reason why we have that area up in the back.
Yep.
So that he could go all the way back there and turn around too.
Patrick, any?
I have no questions right now.
Okay, I got a couple, so outside storage. Is there any intent to have outside storage on these things?
what do you mean by outside storage?
Um,
Like, are you talking
so
trash receptacles and things or storage of
We can talk
materials?
about where those are on the plans
Yeah.
and snow on the plan, there's snow on the plans. But in general, the question would be, are you intending on storing, whether it's pallets or whether there's, we don't quite know what's going into these new buildings. So we could have somebody that has a landscaping business that wants to put their loam on the backyard there. We could have, you just don't know gonna be there, so I guess the intention is the intention of this to have outside storage? You know, somebody with a pallet of bricks or something like that. You, there may be a need to go to the select board to get a approval for something like that, but.
At the moment, I'd say there's no intent. If you look at this plan, you know, the lot is unique.
Yeah.
It's long and it's thin.
Yeah.
And if you see where the parking is located, there's quite a few spots and, you know, for all the uses, you know, of property.
Yeah,
There's not really anywhere to accommodate storage. If you, at the very back area, the turnaround area, as you can see, that's where the high pressure gas line is even. So, I mean, that's going to be
so,
big, but you
so
know,
if that was an intent not to have outdoor storage, you guys are willing to condition that, that would go a long way. But what,
I mean, I guess, you know, if there was
Or are you
thought, you'd have to
intending to-
go and get approval for it from, you know,
well, there's
like
certain
we-
things you have to, but it would start here.
yeah. I
So-
believe there's no intent for storage.
Outdoor storage, okay. So that would be one concern that comes up in every one of these types of buildings is outdoor storage. And then, fleet storage. There's a lot of parking places there and, you know, the intent, I guess what I'm hearing is that there's an intent to have different bays that you could pull in, have a truck, you know, park in a parking place, but you wouldn't have 20, 30, 40 vehicles with a logo sign on it, coming and going, that type of thing. It'd be a different animal, right? Or are you?
I guess my only statement would be, so there's 13 proposed up to 13 bays.
Yeah,
So obviously this building can be built out with an interior that can be adjusted.
yep,
Could there be 20 vehicles, you know, with logos? Maybe if you had one person that rented the entire place, all 13 bays. Because you have the various parking spots out front,
mm-hmm,
you know, that could be used, so they, you know, they can put a vehicle or two or maybe even three indoors in the bay, but, you know, if you had one company that ended up renting the entire place, they could have you know, a number of their vehicles there. But if each bay is built out and rented to an individual contractor or one contractor, then you see maybe two spots in front of each bay that, you know.
yeah, so that's two different animals there. So you get, the second one you just described is
Yeah.
one animal. The other one is another animal with traffic concerns and, you know, how many trips per day and
Yeah,
all
these
that
are
stuff that they-
retail, so, I mean,
well, that's the next question. Are we adding retail to this location?
no, the intent here is, I believe, just to have industrial, you know, use, you know, commercial use in the sense of having contractors there. I
Yeah.
don't believe it's to, you know, bring in retail customers in the sense of,
Yeah,
you
so
know.
we want to be able to be a little flexible, but we also need to evaluate what's here. And those are two different types of animals that would have different ramifications as far as the way the board is going to look at this. You know, the question comes up is, you know, do we need a traffic study? That's another question. Not only for, you know, and that, depending upon the type of use and the type of use you guys were looking to do. If you've got 20 trucks coming in 3 times a day, 4 times a day, you know, might trip something different than if you get 13 bays with 2 trucks that come and go on a, you know, a contractor type facility that the contractor comes in, beginning of the day, takes his material, goes to a location, does their work, comes back, something like that. So the 2 different types of animals. I guess the next, and I'm not sure we got quite an answer to that, but that's something that we'd want to look into is whether we need to trip the traffic study on this. The next question I have is, you mentioned this is a pre-existing non-conforming lot. What's your position on, is this increasing the non-conforming piece of this lot by what you're doing?
I would say no, it's an industrially zoned property. You can have multiple structures, multiple business on an industrial property. It doesn't, you know, it meets the setback requirements, it meets all that, so the frontage, non-conforming frontage is really all we're talking about here. And that's already being used for multiple uses, so, you know, I don't see it as being, something that is increasing the nonconformity, and again, the ZBA, this on record at the Registry of Deeds, where the ZBA basically stated that the applicant had sought, you know, a variance and said it wasn't needed because it was a pre-existing non-conforming. So I guess I'd rely on that decision that's of record.
Okay.
As to that issue, I mean, you know,
Maybe Joe, we could have a town staff pull a copy of that for us.
yeah, I can give it a copy of it to you.
We'll add that to the file. Typically, we don't accept documents,
All right,
before Thursday, but if you're just passing it in town staff, we'd appreciate a file copy to the town staff, but for further discussion. Okay, Bill?
As we progress through this, we're going to look at, potentially lack of fleet storage, hours of operation, making sure, potentially the bays are closed, so any work inside the bays does not go outside and bother any neighbors. And there's some of a standard list that we'll work through as this progresses. To look out for the neighbors in the area with regards, as he said, to outdoor storage, etc. Thank you.
I would like to see in a future renderance, the connection with the school and how far away the baseball field is and, at least the driveway and property line and how far away that is. Where it's a school, we gotta be conscious of the school. And again, there's a business here already, but I would like to see that in a renderance later. Just the idea of the school and, I don't think is the other piece we're probably gonna, with the stormwater, is when we get to peer review. The town well is right there. Obviously, we're gonna be asking about the zone 2 and the town well. And if there's usage issues with that, I'd like to make sure peer review looks at it. So. At this point, I think what I would do is see if there's anybody in the audience who would like to ask a question.
Yeah, my name is Doug.
Voice of concern.
Yeah, my name is Doug Kelly. I live at 319 Hartford Avenue. Across the street.
Thank you for
Now,
coming.
first of all, my first concern would be if you're gonna have 13 businesses in there, what are you gonna have for signage? I mean, right now, and I don't know what the regulations are with the town. Right now, there's a sign that's 10 to 12 feet high. That's illuminated. And that's for like one business. What's gonna happen with 13 businesses in there that of course will wanna say, our business is here? And the other thing is it gonna be illuminated? I mean, right up the street, you see Stallbrook, the shopping mall, you know, there's a huge sign. I don't know what the regulations are in the town. I mean, right now, you know, it's a smaller sign. And maybe because it's in a residential area across the street. Do we know what that is at all, or?
Also, if you're around in a little while, we're gonna talk about Walmart and the sign.
Yeah.
So that'll come up. Not going into those other issues, but thank you for bringing those up, and we'll take a look at those as we go forward.
Yeah, I don't know
Signage is something that.
what there is for regulations. The other thing is you mentioned about a traffic study. And I would think you would definitely have to have a traffic study because it's already congested at that intersection. I looked at the drawings. It appears there's a driveway. It's not really a road going in, excuse me. And the classes start in the morning at, I don't know, 6 or 7 in the morning. Cars are coming in and out, turning in, stopping traffic. And you get to like 8 o'clock, a big pickup truck will try to come out. A car can't go in while the truck is coming out. So there'd be 3 or 4 cars trying to get in to go to classes. So it's already very congested. Yeah. And I know like right now they have container trucks coming and going all the time, but there's gonna be a lot more increased traffic with 13 businesses, if they're construction related. The other thing I was wondering, on this picture here, you showed entranceways in the front and then overhead doors in the back, which I imagine you would have to get back there in order to drop things off into your space, because it's gonna be, you said it's gonna be a warehouse. Well, for construction, it's gonna be a little mini warehouse for them to keep all their tools and such. They may not be storing a lot of stuff, but all their tools. Is there a road behind the building proposed?
No, so the elevations, the garage doors are on in front of the building, so the top is the front, which is facing the pavement. And the doors are the back where it's green. It is deceiving, but that's the way see how the building, the top, that is
So you're saying that
facing the pavement on the left, so it's coming,
the overhead doors are facing the pavement?
yes.
Correct.
And then in the back are those doors man doors for emergency so they can walk out.
Egress,
And I think on the truck, and you said it was the fire trucks,
Yes.
it just shows regular parking spaces, I believe, in front of those. Is
Correct.
it gonna be a designated 2 spots for each overhead door so people can come up and back in and park stuff? It'd almost be like non-usable because they have to have access to that space anytime during the day.
If you see the squares here in each bay, that would be where like the entrance door would be for potential finished office. And there's no parking here where the overhead doors would go. So there was already parking left out for wherever there would be an overhead. The parking flanks the overhead doors and where the potential entrance could be for the man door.
So the other thing is, when you look on that, what was put for the fire department, and how they, like, especially in that first lot, how they're gonna turn around. They're turning around over parking spots. What if the whole parking lot is full of cars? Is there still enough room to get a fire truck around?
The fire truck is not going over parking spaces.
The turnaround for
The
the fire
turnaround-
is at the end, where it's round.
Yeah, but
Well, it's in both spots.
right, but there is no it does not drive over the truck.
Can you put up that?
And through the chairs, and through the chair. So as we go through this process, public safety, fire, police will take a look at these plans and give input for stuff
Okay.
like that. So your concerns would be looked at as part of the normal process.
Okay, so will we get another notification for the next meeting where we'll have something a little more determined, like if there's gonna be a traffic study, or how do we keep informed?
Well, we definitely, before we end tonight, in the next couple of minutes, we'll establish when the next hearing will be.
Okay,
So we'll get to that in a minute or two and let you know before too much longer.
okay, and before that meeting, will they address signage as well, or?
This
We
may,
too early, is this way too early?
this process may take more than one meeting, 2 meetings, 2 meetings. So as we go through these topics, we'll certainly make sure the public knows when
Okay.
these meetings are.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, you could definitely call the town planning department, and they can let you know when the next meeting would be. Usually they're posted on the websites, but.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question, Phil?
Steve, for you.
So with regard to signage, I don't know if you're able to comment on it now, but if this is gonna be an area where contractors are based out of and not retail where customers are coming into, I would assume that signage isn't really something that has to be out there big and bold, because it's employees going in and out, not customers. Am I correct in assuming that?
That is a good assumption. I mean, you're right, since it's not, and, it's not retail space. You don't need, the visibility for the general public. And obviously, whatever is done will have to comply with the town's sign bylaw. So, we won't be able to do anything beyond what the town,
Yeah.
allows.
So I think before we get to the end of the process, we probably want to see a signage plan. Mr. Sutherland, do you have your hand up?
I wanted to ask, from looking at the plan here, I noticed that the large parking spaces that are to the south side of the building, southeast corner, they all face the school property and there's no fencing there. I'm just concerned that people could be sitting there watching children and you may want to have that fenced for privacy and protection of the school children at Bellingham. Just a thought. Well, because there's no way of knowing how far anything is or any other determination with regard to the school. But it may be a thought that had come up.
Public
with
safety
Public
wise.
safety, because we've done it
That,
with
that
the
would be something to look
water
at
pool
too.
up by Rapid Refill.
Yeah, so the school, when I was asking for another renderance of what the school, that's kind of where I was going with that, is to look at the relationship with the school. You just, you're in a prime location next to our children, so. Thank you. Is there any other questions from the audience? Sir?
Yeah, can I just make one other observation? I'm in the construction business and construction usually starts at 6 a.m. So if these are gonna be construction places, the traffic's gonna start at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning for guys to run by and get what they need. So as far as the hours of operation,
Hours of operation will be part of any plan that gets.
As will construction.
As typical construction hours, those are typical conditions we look at during this process, so thank you for that concern. Sir?
And here, Weathersfield Road. Do we know, is the site of this project directly behind Stallbrook?
Well, next to, not behind.
Okay.
Yeah, so to answer the question, you have can you flip to the other one?
Yeah, it's coming, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, thank you. So the building up to the upper right-hand side there is the school. And we know that there's a there used to be a baseball field that I know my kids played on, so. It wasn't that long ago. No.
Adjacent
He's in
to
college,
it.
he's in college now, so.
Not at Notre
Anyway,
I played on it 50 years ago.
you played there too, so.
Adjacent to it is a gravel lot that basically is behind where these buildings are gonna be, that currently used for basically overflow parking, for events that happen at Stallbrook. It also is where DPW may first, sort of park their vehicles in order to unlock the gate to get back to, the water, the wells as well as, the upcoming PFAS treatment plant. So there's an access, and they referenced an easement that the town has over sort of the back portion of their land. That easement, if you look at that turnaround and back, you'll see this driveway come into their land. That's a town easement to access those back areas.
We'll certainly be looking at that as we go, along with the water resource district. Two there. Any other concerns from the board? All right, so I'm hearing stormwater review for sure. And then, Joe, where would you like to go with this? We're in the same type of pattern with staff for.
Correct. I actually,
May?
just emailed calendar invite for a development team review, that Tuesday, the 28th. We're gonna slot it in for that. There's, I think, a lot of questions that specifically fire department will want to take a look at. And we can take a closer look at some of those issues that are raised. The following Monday, we'll actually have the first day of our new building commissioner. So we'll be able to have that person start to take a look at the zoning side to provide input and look at things such as signs and all that. I'll follow up with Amy as far as sending things out for what we have for peer review and coordinating that staff meeting to make sure that we have comments. Amy had, prepared a continuation hearing for May 14th on this. Depending on where we are on some of those, we'd be able to give an update in case there's more work that needs to be done to focus in on some other areas.
Okay, so we're probably talking a longer decision deadline as well.
The deadline right now is on this, June 30th.
June 30th. Okay, all right, not sure we're gonna get to June 30th, but, I don't know whether it's worth extending it now or later.
I don't like extending, at this point, if we're coming back on the 14th and it needs one, I'd say let's talk then, because I also know that, if we extend June 30th, then we're talking the summer months and meetings get fewer and far between and so.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
I'm just concerned with traffic. 72, 13 new businesses, 2-3 vehicles a day going in and out around the hours of operation on Hartford Ave. I'm leaning that a traffic study really needs to be considered.
Okay, we'll take that back to staff, see whether we tripped.
Yeah.
I think hammering out some of the conversations we had as far as the usage and how many tenants and outdoor storage and signage and all of this stuff as we go. I think if we can get some clarity on some of that stuff, we'll certainly go in the right direction. So, at this point, it looks like we've got, we're asking, we have a continuance sign. I'm seeing the applicant thinking it's okay to go to May 14th. For continuance and leave the decision deadline for the 30th.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
we just heard talk about, traffic.
yes.
We have our next meeting on the 14th. If we're talking about a traffic study, potential peer review, we're getting real close to the 30th. I think anticipation, we could extend the decision deadline. And if we decide beforehand, we're fine. If not, we have somebody.
I think it's June 30th is the decision deadline. We're gonna send to May
Yeah, but-
14th.
But you'll probably
I've already
be
heard
close to a
people
lot
do that.
for the traffic stuff. Back and forth
I
with peer review.
don't think we're gonna have, at this point, with the 14th is when we'll be exploring where to go from here, whether we need the traffic study, what other information, the more review and all that stuff. I agree with you that we're not gonna be done by June 30th.
Well, in my
Unless
personal opinion,
America-
I don't think that the proposed use would trigger a traffic study in this case for Harvard Avenue, I mean, in the area that we're talking about. So, but, and then if we can get the peer review, contract for that, for the stormwater as quick as possible, we'll get the check in for that. And I personally think, again, if you look at the stormwater, report that's already been done, this should be a very quick, simple one for the town's peer review to do, because it's eliminating any runoff.
Okay.
So I think, and as you stated, by May 14th, with the town board's input and some of the additional information we'll provide, I think that it will clarify quite a few issues. Will we be ready for June 30th? Maybe not. And if it's not, what I'm telling you is on May 14th, if it's evident there's no way, we're not gonna be unreasonable. But I just don't like the grant continuances right off the bat, without knowing that yet.
Okay, I hear your position. I think when we get there, we do look for continuance, it'll be a little further out at that, but if I guess at this point, I would take a motion. I see your point, sir, and I wouldn't want to speculate against you. Say it that way. But at this point, I think I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to continue the public hearing for 316 Hartford Ave to the May 14th planning board meeting.
The decision deadline? June.
The decision deadline is 6:30. I'll leave that as is and address on the next meeting.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Anybody, Marty, second by Steve, and start the vote with Marty.
Marty, aye.
Bill, aye.
Bill, on.
Liz, I.
Steve, aye. And that passes 5-0, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
I would suggest to the audience, keep coming, and to answer your question, May 14th, sir.
See you then. Thank
See you then. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. All right. So, moving on. Second. All right, so our next public hearings are continuing public hearing for 190, 194, and 198 Hartford Avenue. I believe we've opened these up together in the past, and I'm gonna recommend we do that again. So that would be for the second one, with continuing public hearing of 182 to 186 Hartford Avenue. And I would accept a motion to open them both at this point. So moved. Made by Bill, seconded by Mark. Okay, if we could have the applicant come down, we put the applicant here.
So we had, through email, Amy was communicating with the engineer. And they are, requesting for both applications a continuation from May 14th. And extension of this decision to May 29th. I think one of the principal reasons why there is request is that coming up on April 21st, we're going to be actually having the bid opening for the Hartford Ave traffic improvements that were funded through WS because of the intersection. And depending the outcome as far as that, and the discussions that have been ongoing as far as what is the level of participation. I think everyone is waiting for those bid results to come in, see what goes forward, and then identify that path forward from that point.
Okay. So I would accept a motion to continue to May 14th with the extension of the decision deadline to May 29th. Motion made by Steve, second by Bill, and start the vote with Steve.
Steve, I. Liz, I.
Bill, Bill, aye.
Marty, aye.
And that passes 5-0. On both. All right, well, I think that ends those general discussion. The public hearings, so why don't we start in on the general business, unless Joe, you'd like to go some other way?
No, I think that works.
Okay, I see the applicant for 250 Hartford Avenue and the Walmart sign online. And well, welcome. Joe, where do we stand with this since the last time? I know last time they were here, they presented some information. I think there was a site walk with at least one member here along with some town staff. Have we received anything new from the applicant?
I don't believe so. The only thing that we have in the file is the signage plan that identifies the height. And either Mr. Davis or Mr. Osborne, not knowing which one of you wanted to try to share your screen, if you can let me know so I can elevate you so that you can do that.
And that drawing was in our box.
Hello, this is Jeff Davis with PB2 Architecture and Engineering. Let me see if I can try to share my screen without destroying the entire universe.
Hey Jeff, I just made you a co-host so you can share your screen.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
So just to clarify, this is in front of us as you were looking to have a modification made on a decision that the previous planning board made years back. Is that correct?
That is correct. Where the store is in the middle of a remodel at the moment. Hang on, I'm trying to find the correct thing. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So we did a flag test earlier this year, and I think the previous um, gentleman from planning was there when the flag test was done. What we have here is um, the existing sign. You can see it in the background. Um, um, and that is well, currently what's on site, and it's invisible from the freeway. So Walmart would like to do is construct a, single pole pylon sign with a 9 by 33 foot uh, I'm sorry, cabinet on it that just says Walmart. And the idea was to get some sort of um, you know, visualization of what a sign like that would be like when it's in when it's installed. So the top of the crane by that little, I guess, little connector here, this is about 115 feet overall height from grade to up to this point here. Um, I mean, I apologize for my crude and rudimentary art skills. But we just wanted to get some sort of idea to show you what this, uh, you know, most likely will look like. This is more of a view from the freeway itself. Um, Again, the top of the cabinet here is approximately 115 feet overall height, and that's pretty much what Walmart is looking for. And I guess we just need to know, I guess what was floated uh, beforehand is discussion was whether this would be I guess, a minor modification or a major modification to um, uh, the existing setup for when the original project was put in years ago.
Okay, so I think there was at least one member of the board that was there for the balloon test, right?
Yes,
Bill, you were there?
yes.
Okay. Any impressions,
Yeah, do you want my comments?
please?
Sir, can you go back to the first slide that you showed us? That's not a reflection of the actual balloon test. Okay, they used a piece of either cardboard or wood to reflect it. And if you look at the angle, if you were to move that sign further down to put it right next to their current sign, it shows a significant difference in height. You know, you're looking at an angle there. When I was there for the study, we felt that it goes beyond the sign bylaw. I expressed a concern that while they're good neighbors, our job is not to accommodate their visibility on the highway to attract more business. That is a business decision they made when they put the sign in that did not conform with the town bylaws.
Okay.
So I think what you're looking at is a little skewed, to be fair.
Okay. And
That's
just,
not what took
and just to,
place on
just to
that day.
clarify, Joe, what we're looking to do tonight is to establish whether it's a major or minor modification.
Yeah.
And I think we took a pause last time because of it. I think there was a lot of expression made at that last time around. What? Why don't we open it up to the board to ask if there's additional questions after this new information? Marty, do you have any?
Yeah, my original, when we first discussed this, the first go round, I had asked, does Walmart have a sign like this anywhere on the East Coast? At this height, I wanted to go actually see something. And you guys are gonna look into, have they done this elsewhere?
And I cannot think of any locations on the East Coast. I put it to the the sign team at Walmart, and I didn't get much of anything back, unfortunately. So I know that there's some signs in more, say, the South that are, say, 100-foot plus. Um, but unfortunately, I do not have any examples of those.
Okay, thank you. My other concern is the sign is as wide as this opening in our soffit here from the white lights, the the recessed light over to the HVAC. That's the size of the sign that they're looking at trying to put up. That's enormous. And it's an illuminated sign. My concern is there's a neighborhood right across 495. So if this is illuminated all night long, what kind of splash is gonna go over into that residential area? So those are my size, seeing actual reality, and the illumination. Those are my major concerns. So
Patrick, do you have any?
I have the two same concerns. I don't have anything else further.
Stephen?
Ditto and ditto with Phil.
Liz?
No, I think I'm ready to make a decision.
Bill?
Everybody else.
I mean, you know how I feel.
Okay. All right, so I have lots of concerns about this. Number one, I'm not, I understand it's in one of our decisions. But I think even if, depending upon even what happens here, looking at the sign bylaws, I think you'd probably end up having to go to the select board either way for some sort of approval if I read through the sign bylaws thoroughly enough. Concerned about the light. If you drive up and down that section of 495, you don't have signs there. You don't have individual business signs. There are two mall signs. One up the road, one down the road, but they're not individual store light up signs like this. Matter of fact, the one to the south isn't illuminated at 6 a.m. during the winter, so not sure that that plays in the size and everything else. I think I've got a firm idea of where I'm gonna go with this as well. At this point, I think we'll entertain a motion that I'll let the person making the motion clarify it, but it is either to make this a major or minor modification to our that this decision would be a major or minor decision.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion. that This is a major decision.
Major change.
Yes.
All right, is there a second?
second,
All right, so motion made by Bill, second by Marty, and we'll start the vote with Marty.
Marty, I.
Bill, aye.
Bill, I.
Was I?
Steve, I.
Okay, so this would be a major modification, which then trips the rest of the process. So I think that's what we're here to discuss tonight. Joe, any other direction you want to go? Other than this is now a major modification that we would need to look at, whether they want to continue to go notify the neighbors and have a public hearing. I think we've probably got some, maybe maybe the staff in between can take a look at the sign bylaws and give some guidance to the board if it comes back up again.
Yeah, I mean, that's where, there is language regarding, accessory signs and maximum, areas that these all exceed, so we may need to just look to see if there's, with, the assistance of, town council, whether this may also require a special permit with the Board of Appeals, as a, non-accessory dimensional, sign. So there may be some other sections, and I just want to just verify with, Amy, because Rob may have identified a permitting path on this, but these types of things, which again, you already have the main, freestanding sign on Hartford Ave that, advertises this, as well as Market Basket and the other, tenants within the plaza. And so this is really an off-site sign that, going northbound, you don't see until you pass the interchange. Going southbound, because you have, and it actually is a fairly thick tree buffer in between the two lanes, it's really questionable, whether or not at the balloon test, this was even visible from the southbound side. I think there's, and I just actually through Street View, just wanted to make sure there wasn't like, that the state has the gas station, signs. Very often they also have major commercial, destinations, but for this exit, they don't have any pre-warning as far as any of the commercial, shopping areas here. So, may want to just take another look to see if there is a separate relief that would need to be granted for this sign, which is really not a primary sign, which, that's why I just want to check with Amy and Rob, make sure there wasn't things they already went down, evaluated and dismissed associated with this request.
So given what you said, Joe, is Walmart aware that it's not visible northbound until you pass the interchange, the exit, correct?
Oh, I'd hope so.
So I guess my question is, if that's the case, and then there's some question on the southbound side, is this something you want to follow through on if if the return on putting something like this up, if it is approved, will be negligible, at best?
I think that's their business decision.
Right, but
But when I was there, I came to the same conclusion.
yeah, okay.
Right now, it's very limited because of the growth of the trees.
Yeah.
However, if hypothetically, we were to agree to this, if you're going northbound, by the time you get to the sign, you've missed a turnout. And if you're coming southbound, I don't know, but I can tell you, everyone probably within a 25-mile area knows where that Walmart is.
Yeah.
They know where the Market Basket is. So I don't think but again, it's a business decision.
Right. And I'm not trying to influence.
No, I'm not either.
But knowing that, I would, think that they would want to, consider that.
I brought that up to them.
Okay.
All right, and just and I think your zoning questions, Joe, I think that's good questions too, but I think select board might need to be involved as well. On the 243B, we'll go from there. All right, so I think we've got what our applicants are looking for tonight. This would be major, and we'll
So basically, pardon me, the process would be then, holding public hearings and going down that route, basically applying for a variance away from the existing code to possibly allow the sign. Is that correct?
I think what we've decided here is that it would be a major change. It's a major decision change for the decision that was in place So the process going forward, I think, is basically, Joe's gonna, if you contact Joe, right after the beginning of the month? Right? In about a week or two,
Yeah,
you give you a better idea. So big first week of the month next, beginning of May, if you could contact, Joe Layden, and he can give you a guidance as far as where to go from here.
Okay.
I think he was referring, he was gonna do some research with, town council and, some other places that we need to clarify as far as, we've made the decision that the planning board needs to make tonight.
Mhm.
But the process going forward, there may be some information in the file that would be, helpful to where we go next.
and Jeff, I'll reach out to send you my contact information so we can touch base. I know I've been forwarded emails from Rob, on this.
Mhm.
So, I'll make sure you have my contact information. We can touch base, later this week, beginning of next week.
Okay, yeah, if you could please include Donnie Osborne on that.
Okay.
He's actually the PM in charge of this site. So I'm just a guy that knows things about signs.
I think, thank you for coming.
Sure. Thank you very much for your time. We do appreciate it.
All right, next general business item is the 239 Maple Street major modification request. So representing the applicant tonight? You can introduce yourself again for the public record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brian Falk, with Myra here on behalf of the applicant.
And Joe, where do we want to go with this tonight?
Okay, so after this, when we last discussed this, and I'm just gonna pull up the Dropbox. Amy was putting some stuff in. Maple Street. So one of the things after the meeting, the applicant's counsel and I did touch base and sort of tried to reflect a little bit on the discussion that the board had. And one of the things just to, and please, board members, correct me if I'm wrong. One of, I think, the questions that the board had, and also one of the concerns was with the change in the use and the references to equipment being parked in the front parking areas adjacent to Maple Street became a principal concern, especially because Maple being scenic, and representing a change from what the board had originally seen. So I had taken a look at the landscape plan and noticed that under the prior approval, there's a lot of plants that were really lower level growing, deciduous and some evergreen shrubs, but realistically, except at full maturity and really explosive growth and maturity, they really wouldn't provide some of the screening that I think the board probably would have approved in the initial decision had this been the use that was before the board. So we talked about maybe what were some ways to mitigate that. I'm just trying to bring up some schematic images, and let me just share my screen for a second. So as far as introducing evergreens, either pines or green giant arborvitae, pines in this area may be more in line with trees along Maple Street compared to giant green arborvitae. Council had identified one without a berm, and then, whoops, Zoom window's getting in the way. One with a berm, sort of elevating things up, and provided a couple, sort of like angled images to sort of see how this might be able to, with some growth, start to hide some of that equipment. In your Dropbox was also some language that you had prepared for their consideration. I think there's some drawings that maybe did not make it from Amy. I have 4. Did you provide me with a couple more
That was just those 4.
illustrations? Okay,
Yep.
good. And then there was the Word document that identified their amended conditions, what they were looking for, and some new, specifically 36, condition 36, where amend the landscaping plan as part of the building permit that shows planting of not less than 8 evergreen trees, giant green arborvitae, white pine or similar, minimum trunk caliber of 4 inches to further screen. You know, the 8, you may need to just take a look to see if that's the appropriate number. There may be, you know, there may need to be a few more just to cut down on a couple angles. But those are some things as far as working after the meeting to try to get the aesthetic issues that you were clearly concerned about, try to get them a little bit more addressed, and you know, hopefully a little bit more in line with Maple Street as a scenic road. I drove by yesterday to refamiliarize myself with the site, and especially here at construction time, and with the rest of the street without leaves on the trees yet. Having some sort of more vertical vegetated buffer up front would definitely help and reinforce compared to the original plan that really was sort of a lower scale landscaping plan. Again, appropriate probably at the time you were approving it, but with now some of the screening the board wants to see from equipment that may be parked up front, definitely, you know, maybe more needed in this case. Want to add in?
No, that's a great summary. And I have hard copies of that doc if board members would like it. I
I would not mind.
pass that around. Suppose I'm myself. It's just the conditions I put together.
No, I'm impressed with the effort.
So as town administrator was mentioning, we've got this list of proposed conditions. I have suggested edits to conditions 4 and 7, which were the ones that, you know, brought us here in terms of a modification to the original approval. And then we added 3 additional conditions. Joe had described condition 36 with respect to an enhanced landscaping plan. We also suggested a new condition 34 and 35 with respect to both where the vehicles would be stored, which is going to be in the parking spaces. They'd have to fit within the parking spaces. And then that's 34. And 34 also notes that they can't be parked in a manner that would interfere with emergency vehicle access around the building. So we'd have a permit condition on that point. If we're blocking that area, that's to our own peril, but it's also a zoning violation that could be enforced by the town. Condition 35 prohibits us from doing any loading or unloading of construction vehicles with along Maple Street. So there's concern that are these too big to be done on site? We know they're not, but now there's an enforceable condition. So if somebody goes by and we're unloading on the street, that's a zoning violation. Something that's enforceable by the town. And then the changes to 4 and 7 towards the top address, in addition to clarifying that we can store the construction vehicles there, which will be part of the business. limitations on the height of the vehicles and the number of vehicles that will be displayed outside. So no more than 6 in the front, no more than 10 feet high, and in the back, no more than 10, no more than 14 feet high. The building's gonna be between 30 and 40 feet high. So that's gonna screen them anyway. This gives you a level of comfort with the numbers. Again, somebody goes by, we've got 7 construction pieces of equipment stored in the front. It's a zoning violation that's enforceable. So a number of things that the town would have at its disposal, based on the concerns that the board brought up last time.
Are there any questions from the board to start with?
Yeah, I have one. Joe, it may be logistics. If we're changing the language in the agreement, what does that do in terms of major or minor? Does that impact that at all from a legal standpoint?
So
'Cause you would
that's
never
a,
done
that's
that.
a really good question as far as, just, and I'm actually gonna ask for clarification from both, board members and the applicant. This was a development plan review.
Correct.
I believe
So it wasn't a special permit, so at least the decisions, do you require that they be filed with the registry of deeds? Development plan?
Let's check. I don't think they're typically recorded, you know.
Yeah. I don't have a copy of our decision, but it's usually in the back there somewhere. But
Yeah, I have, yeah, the
It's gotta
decision.
be, they're usually recorded before it becomes effective.
Yeah, because 30 days for an appeal, correct?
Yeah.
So there would be a couple things. One, these are new conditions that are being added. And realistically, there would be, and I'm just pulling it up. Where did I put it? So let me share. The landscaping plan would have to be amended and referenced. So you can see here, the approved landscaping plan identified rhododendrons, forsythia, and dogwood. Rhododendrons out of the list really were the only evergreens that were part of that landscaping plan. So this exhibit would have to be updated as well as some of the other plans. I don't know for the board, when you've done minor modifications, whether or not that's resulted in an amended decision with exhibits that then, if it was recorded at the registry of deeds, would then require a follow-up recording at the registry of deeds.
Right. So I guess at this point, we haven't established whether this is a major or minor.
Through the chair, you have, that's what we're here.
We have that it is a major.
Determined that it was major. And
And is this a public meeting, a public hearing then?
I believe.
It's new business. So to me, we didn't.
Did we open up I'm just,
No.
the reason why I'm pausing is just, it's on the agenda as general business.
Correct, which is not this isn't a public hearing.
So
Technically,
the
this is
board
general
already made a
business.
determination it was major.
Yes.
So now is to have a public hearing.
Well, through the chair, you made that determination.
Yeah.
And the last time we were here was the beginning of that hearing. You did open a hearing last time on that. I don't know why the agenda lists us under general business, but the board did open the hearing last time and continued it to this date at that meeting. So that's why we're here on this day.
So Brian, you're thinking
Have we
it's a
notified,
continuation.
Correct.
have we notified the neighbors?
Well, I mean, if we continued it, continued hearing to 4/9. The challenge is clearly on staff side. We made an error not having it listed out as a public hearing. So there's probably two ways to handle this. Well, actually, there's really only one way. One is for anyone that's here just to continue it to the next meeting. And that we, at the town's expense, re-advertise, because this wasn't the applicant's error, this was our error with posting of the agenda. And then basically some of the same conversation that we have would have to continue on the 14th, because realistically, the agenda did not adequately identify the nature of the hearing. So anything we discussed, we basically would have to just repeat and just do over, just procedurally to take care of it and correct it for the record. You know,
Take input from the neighbors and things like that.
right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that, you know, essentially the procedural question that you asked and as far as this would result in an amended decision with reference to these plans. You know, there's refinements and even just a draft document that then we can use as a working document on the 14th. So if we're then on the 14th, get to a place where the board feels comfortable closing the hearing, because we've worked through a couple of these issues, then we're there on the 14th. I mean, we'd be, even if this was a public hearing, we'd probably be there anyways. So it just procedurally, we just need to correct for the record.
Also, I don't think you really can discuss anymore because it's not a public hearing.
We wouldn't want to open ourselves up to open meeting law.
Yes, because it
claim.
could be a violation.
That's why I said we'd have to repeat everything we just said.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We've got room on the 14th. We can make room on the 14th.
Yeah.
May 14th, or do we go? I don't think.
I do
We've
it
got
on
a
the
lot
14th.
of it. It'd be a long, the next meeting may go to the next morning. As it is us, I recommend going to the 14th if we can.
We're fine going to the 14th, and, you know, again, we'll repeat this. I think we can do it even shorter next time. We've got a good summary going. I think we can make progress offline in addition between now and then to have a fairly efficient, hopefully final hearing on the 14th.
Right.
So happy to work with staff in the interim to get a draft decision put together, and any other tweaks in the language of the amended conditions that the board has that you communicate to staff. We can certainly, you know, take that up offline, and then, you know, be efficient as we can on the 14th.
Okay, I'd hesitate even bringing up any issue right now that may come up next time around, so.
I basically say if
Just
board members have
move on.
individual questions, funnel them to me
Through you.
and we can follow up.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so. At this point, we're not gonna continue to the 14th because it'll be a new public hearing at that point. Because this is a general business conversation, so at that point, what we'd do is open up, because it's a major, at that point, we'll open it up for a public meeting. At that point, and I don't think we can open it, it's a general business item today that we're treating as a general business item today. So we'll just clarify that. And Joe, anything procedurally you think we need to be careful of right now, other than move to the 14th?
No, I think everyone has the hair on the back of their neck standing up appropriately to be cautious and take care of this at the next meeting.
Okay.
And through the chair, if you need anything from me in terms of papering the situation, I'm happy to, you know, we agreed last time when the hearing was open to continue to tonight for whatever reason that's not on the agenda. We're comfortable continuing to the 14th based on the, you know, I guess, unofficial discussion that we've had tonight. So if you need something in terms of a grant to continue it to the 14th, we can certainly do that.
Worth getting a piece of paper.
I think it would be worthwhile just to cover so that there isn't any any claim of constructive approval.
Okay, so do you have a copy of a form we can use?
If not,
I think
I can email you as we did last time.
Yeah, well, it looks like you have a pad of paper.
I do have a pad of paper.
Yeah. Pick a minute.
Otherwise, I'm sure there's a napkin hanging around and also have you. Yeah, I was just looking to see if, no, I don't have any blank forms.
Then decision deadline. You don't need more of those. You can't anymore, so. All right. So on to approval of minutes. Yeah, hold on. No, there you go. I know. I know you're writing. And thank you for your understanding tonight. All right, so. Motion to bring this up next business meeting on May 14th. For the public hearing.
Well, actually, I think the motion should say to move this to this public meeting. This is
On May 14th.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Bill, seconded by Marty. Marty?
Marty, I.
Bill, I.
Bill, I.
Was I?
Steve, I.
Okay, so that passes 5-0, and thank you for your understanding.
7:14, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So I know there's at least meeting minutes. We'll do that and then jump back into the last topic. I think Joe can introduce. So has everybody had a chance to look at the March 4th, or the March 12th meeting minutes?
Yes.
Okay, were there any recommended adjustments? I didn't see any on my side. None?
No.
Okay, then I would accept the motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 12th.
So moved.
I'll second.
Made by Marty, seconded by Bill. All voting starting with Marty.
Marty, I.
Bill, I.
Bill, I.
Was I?
Steve, I.
Okay, so that passes 5-0. And then we'll have a announcement by Joe on the last meeting topic.
Yeah, so happy to announce that in just over 2 weeks, we'll be having our new town planner, Rachel Benson, joining us. She is the current planning director in Rentham. So she's been there for the last 7 years. They, similar to us, had a lot of residential development, a lot of commercial development, handled many of the same topics MBTA we've dealt with, also updating their master plan, open space plan, and working on complete street plans. So gonna be very happy to welcome her on the 27th and start giving some of these things over to her. She actually incidentally had, in between Jim and Rob, provided some assistance to Amy on handling some of the applications and procedures, just, providing moral and sort of administrative support. So, she's also our town staff in the land use department is looking for her joining.
Great. Do you think she would be interested in continuing Rob's position as heading up the bylaw review committee that we've had in place?
One of the nice things about job descriptions that with the vacancy, I got to redo the job description. There's this nice line, other duties as so assigned. And so that's while she in Rentham doesn't have in committee, that's a role that she would do, and I would expect the planner to continue to support in that role.
I think Bill would and Liz would agree that that's an important project for us.
Oh,
given the
absolutely.
nature of how long it's been since they've been reviewed.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and then I'm just waiting for a little bit more time, but I informed the board that we also hired someone accepted a position for the building commissioner's position as well. He'll be starting on May 4th, just finalizing some background stuff before then making that public as well. So
Coming in
Too important.
public or private sector?
Public sector.
Out in,
yep, no, coming from another town, and with experience from two towns that are actually from a socioeconomic as well as, commercial, residential, perspective, really more identified as peer communities to Bellingham. So currently overseeing some significant commercial development that's happening in the Blackstone Valley. So he'll definitely be coming in and prepared to hit the ground running.
Nice.
So exciting.
With progress in short
Yep.
time.
You have one after that?
Yeah, and that's just waiting for a handshake to then finalize that. So hopefully by the time end of April comes along, we'll have those 3 positions filled, already starting, about to start, and then identify a start date for that last one. So
You've been busy.
I've been busy. That's why I missed that it wasn't identified on the public as a public hearing on the agenda.
Stuff happens, yeah.
All right, well, thank you for that information, that's awesome. And I would accept a motion to close the meeting tonight.
So,
Second?
Made by Bill, seconded by Liz, vote. Marty, aye. Bill, aye.
I'm back. Okay,
It's not a special permit, though.
closing a meeting.
Technically, it's gotta be a special permit,
Okay,
technically.
all right.
I'll take it.
Sorry, Pat, it's on. Anyway, Marty was a yes, I'm a yes.
I'll be here, yes.
Liz, aye.
Okay, so the meeting is now closed, thank you, and if you could close the,
Yeah.
our